So one of the very, very essential things of this podcast, I think you already know, is on Less Than 3%, we definitely really talk a lot about healthcare and healthcare related issues and all the different things that can connect to medicine and patient care and all different relationships that interconnect between people, which I think is something that's also shared with fashion as well. And one of the things I really wanted to have you on this podcast about was really to talk about even sort of bridging maybe even like the gap between like fashion and healthcare, because I don't know how many people think about those two things together all the time. But I think just especially even through this episode, hearing your experience and all these different things and all these sort of things popping into my head about how there's even so much work that people have to do, even in their pursuit in the medical field, for instance, like myself as a medical student and so many other people throughout that training process and constantly being able to network and connect with people to get where ultimately you want to be able to care for patients. And
it's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
No, yeah, I think it's all hard. But I think honestly, one of the things I really want to have you on about was even just to talk about how fashion could be connecting to someone's health. I think one of the first things, just to lay out a simple example would maybe even be that I think maybe the biggest extent I would think, or maybe a lot of people would think of fashion and healthcare together, would maybe just be in terms of going to the gym, maybe wearing some gym clothes or putting on a scrub, to go to the hospital and stuff like that. But maybe I should actually even just stop there and ask you, like, what do you think, even in terms of like those sorts of concepts and a connection between like fashion or either pursuing, becoming a physician, being in the healthcare system, or just in terms of just physical health and fashion together?
The two main connections that I can make from fashion to health. The first one that is not as long of a topic because it's pretty simple and basic would just be like from fashion combined with health in the fitness area. So you think about the different kind of clothes that people will wear to the gym, wear to work out or whatever. It's not rocket science. It's nothing crazy. Just like wearing something that's light and comfortable. When it comes to combining health with fashion,
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm missing something, but I don't feel like there's a whole lot there because it's like you just want to wear something that's comfortable. You want to wear something that isn't going to be like itchy or like chafing against your skin, whatever.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the material your outfit is. But there is such a vast amount of research that's done, or not research. There's a vast amount of connections that you can make from fashion into mental health.
Yeah.
So I've listened to a couple of your other episodes of the podcast, and I was like, really? Snap, I could talk about this. I could talk about this joint for hours. Going to a fashion school, going to FIT, and just being around so many people that are interested in that. Like these people eat, breathe, and sleep fashion. Like it is their livelihood. It's insane. I'm like, yo, if I went to another school, does it have that same vibe of like if I went to a performing arts school, are people just like, I want to act, I want to dance? Like are people like really that obsessed with their craft? If so, that's cool to a certain extent. But I feel like fashion with that kind of art form and that form of expression, what I noticed, and this is just, I don't have no hard data, I don't have no numbers, but if you were to ask other people that go to FIT, especially people that lived on the dorms, so many people at that school are depressed.
Really?
So many of them. There's so many different reasons for it. I'm not saying that being interested in fashion is the cause of it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'll say is people who are in that place mentally, they'll specifically use consumerism, purchasing items of clothing all the time as a way to try to combat whatever you're going through mentally and emotionally.
Interesting.
So, and it becomes an addiction at a certain point. So you could be going through something mentally and you don't want to talk to a therapist. You might not want to get medication or seek help from other people about it. And your own coping mechanism is, let me just keep buying clothes because it makes me feel good for like 2 seconds. And while that feeling is there, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not sad anymore for like 5 seconds. But once this piece of clothing gets old, that feeling and that depression comes back and it hits even harder than it was before. And just knowing people that are in different places with their mental health, I'll see the worse somebody is with their mental health, the more that they choose fashion as a form of expression. the more that they choose that as a coping mechanism as opposed to dealing with the problems that they have.